Good morning, fam. Weiss here for another great episode. We are officially on episode 9. We are working on our sellers this week in the sales organization on different tactics, different methodologies, different things to be thinking about going into this year. It's been a blast. Just kind of a little bit of a recap. The last episode that we ran, we talked about technology setup. Now, it doesn't just apply to sellers. It also applies to everybody that is doing anything virtually. And we just talked about technology. We talked about mic setups. We talked about cameras. We even talked about lighting and things to do and things not to do. So if you missed that episode, be sure to jump in my profile, look at my past posts, and go check out that previous episode on our technology setup. Along with that, if you're interested in watching these even more, I always put up a reminder just to make sure that things are coming out. Make sure that you follow me. And by all means, feel free to comment, engage during these sessions. As you know, I take time to look at you. And I'll look over here at my laptop where I have my beautiful setup where I could see all the comments that come in and be able to interact with you as well. So please, by all means, do so. And if you feel uncomfortable, which is going to be a huge topic for today, of just commenting during the live session, shoot me a direct message. If you have any questions or you have any thoughts, let me know. I'm an open book and I love interacting with everybody that participates in these sessions. Today, we got to talk about something that's super important. It's kind of incongruent with our technology setup from our last session, which is really diving into the selling world and for our salespeople in talking about social selling. This is a hot topic because really what I've seen over the years, in the past 15 years of selling, is that things have changed and evolutionized. And what I mean by that is, in our selling world, we started by simply going door to door to sell products, whether if it was knives for the kitchen, whether it was Tupperware, anything like that. That selling process was the beginning of it, right? You even had way back people in wagons rolling up with their cured potions to sell it to other people that could cure them and riddle them of any diseases. And then the evolution had changed once again. Then we started mailing out things to people in written letters because we could send out massive amounts of letters with the same exact content and getting it out there to everybody around the world. Then, of course, the phone evolution happened, and this is multiple evolutions, by the way. So it's not just cold calling, just back in the day when you were in an office and you had a headset and you were hand dialing those particular calls. It also went into the evolution of cell phones, and then went into the evolution of calling people directly through your computer. Then we had the evolution of emails. Almost what's really fascinating is that the selling process from an email perspective had been almost taken over by marketing, and rightfully so. They understand the mass market, they understand the language, and what we use it for in the selling world is just to reach out to prospects, to build a conversation and to get them on the phone so that we can start to introduce ourselves and try to introduce a product that could solve a pain point for that person's business. This has been happening now for quite a bit, and I've seen the evolution over and over and over and over. Here's the funny thing that I'm noticing today in all the sales teams that I've worked with, the sellers that I've spoken with, is that we have this new selling methodology that has come right at us. And it's not just now, it was for the past 5-10 years, which is social media selling. And what I mean by that is that your people, the people that you're looking for, the businesses that you're looking for are all found on the internet interacting with their customers, their prospects, and sharing information about their business that's out there. Now, I know that a lot of you are saying, well, we interact from a social media perspective. I go in there and I use something like LinkedIn Navigator, which, by the way, is a fucking killer tool. Used absolutely incorrectly, because what we're doing is following the same exact practices that we did when it came to regular mail. When it came to emails and blasting emails, we're just blowing up people's inboxes, but not in their personal inbox anymore. Now we're just blowing it up on their social media perspective. And that's not how it works. Social media is very sensitive. Social media is a long-term relationship solution for sellers out there to really get their name in front of people and to build a reputation, to establish trust with a community that is very skeptical about trust. And they're skeptical because you could put out 1 or 2 posts a year, doesn't give you any sort of trust whatsoever. And what we're finding now, and what we're seeing, is this evolution of interacting within social media more and more and more. Why? Let me ask you this. When you woke up this morning, how many of you have your phone right next to your bed, and as soon as your alarm goes up, because everybody uses their alarm on their phone, when you wake up, you're checking your emails, and then how many of you are actually checking your social media? Your Instagram, your Twitter feeds, your Facebook feeds, your LinkedIn feeds, your TikTok feeds. How many of you are actually looking at that as soon as you wake up? Let you take a second to think about it. Yeah, sounds about right. Most of you do that. And here's the funny thing. You do it, so does everybody else. There are people out there who are of the odd that don't put their cell phone next to their bed because they don't believe in having mobile products next to them while they're sleeping. When they first wake up, they actually want to get into their activities. That's a whole different mindset. Majority of people are looking at their stuff on their cell phone as soon as they wake up and looking at their feeds. I mean, that's a gold mine right there, right then. Easy mindset, right? It's not, because social selling gets misconstrued. You would think the term social selling means selling through social media. It's not necessarily that, because people don't want to be bombarded by buying products directly through messages that you're sending out, reaching out directly to clients to be like, hey, we should really do this, when you don't know who they are. Social selling is actually a little bit different, and it conforms to the social media platform setup, which is just simply social selling. I got my little definition here. It's the ability to nurture relationships through social media outlets with new and current prospects. Nurture relationships. That is what it is. It's very hard to just go and just start selling to people right on social media. Some of you, it's going to work, but a lot of you, it's not. Why? Because we talked about that trust factor, because people want to know who you are and what value you bring from a social media perspective. If you're just another person out there hunting through the social media platforms like most of you do with LinkedIn Navigator, you are going to fail. You need to do it right. And today's session is all about the beginning process of actually setting up your social selling process. Set it back to back. That was weird. Whatever. That is exactly what it is. So we got to talk about a few things here, without a doubt. There are a couple goals that come out of social selling, right? The very first thing is you need to build an online presence. You have to. And this is probably the hardest thing to do in social selling, because most of you have social media platforms already installed in it, you're already using, but you use it for personal use. You don't actually use it for a business case. And so your reputation is based off of your personal life. Well, you got to mix and mash that. So you have to actually get involved. You got to conform to this new evolution and bring that social media personal experience to the business world. That is the truth. And you got to build your presence. And I'll tell you this. I know you see it on here constantly. You got to be yourself on social media. That's what everyone says. Be yourself. Be yourself. Be yourself. I think it's bullshit. I think it's absolute bullshit. It has some context to it. Of course, it's super important. But being yourself and someone telling you to be yourself, when's the last time your friends asked you to be yourself? You're just naturally yourself. And especially when you see yourself on camera, when you're recording, when you're putting out information to people, when you're using certain language, that's not normally what you do. So to be yourself can be difficult in building a presence. My suggestion is to find your voice. If you watch any of my previous videos, and by means, pause this if you're watching it from previously recorded, go back into my videos and dig back maybe like 3-4 months. It's pretty easy to scroll through. You just go into my profile, you go into my activities, and you go through it. You'll see the change in my voice and how I project, because it changes. And I'm being myself somewhat, but at the same time, I want to make sure I'm giving the proper voice out there so that you're listening, so that you understand me, so that when I interact with you, you get a taste of who I am. At the same time, though, when you interact with me, you're going to get me, right? You're going to get a lot of energy. You're going to get a lot of smiles. You're going to get a lot of jokes. That's just the way it is. But building an online presence is tough. And we're going to talk more about that in just a moment. Another goal that you got to think about when you're beginning this journey on social media selling. Remember, hundreds of millions of people use social media outlets every day for personal and business use. What's going to help you stand out? And out of all the people that one person looks at is establishing trust. So you got to build a connection. You got to have credibility around you. You got to have some context around things that you are saying and things that you're bringing to the table. But more importantly, you got to bring value. Value means, what knowledge do you want to share that's going to impact those people that are watching you send out information, things that you're writing, quotes that you're putting out there, videos that you're recording. What value are you bringing? Because value is going to be a part of that trust factor. So those are some of the goals that are absolutely essential to beginning this part of the process of social selling. It's funny because I keep on saying social selling. I want to come up with a new term. If you have a new term for it, please, by all means, throw it in there. But you're not really selling anything except for yourself. You're selling your presence. You're selling your persona to the people out there. It needs to be something a little bit different. Because in all honesty, you're not just going to go and reach out to someone and say, buy this. You need this. They want to look at you and be like, I want to interact with this person and see what they're selling. That's what you want to pull from this. So let's talk about the different steps of beginning this social selling process. The very first one, it took me a while to figure out, is conquering the fear of building a social media persona for yourself within all of these outlets. It is a fear. Each and every one of you fear it. Some of you are already doing it, which is great. There's still fear. Listen, when I started doing this, I didn't know what I wanted to bring to the table. I didn't know how I wanted to sound. I didn't know what I wanted to say. It was difficult. And there was a fear of just looking at a camera. There's nothing behind me, right? I'm just looking at a camera right now and then constantly looking at my comments to make sure I'm interacting with you. But all you're doing is looking at a camera and talking to it. And then you're going to take that information and share it with millions of people. There's a fear behind that. It's just like public speaking. And the whole idea of public speaking being one of the most fearful things, this is no fucking different. It isn't. And when I was doing it, I was fearful I was going to say something wrong. I was going to give out the wrong information. I had a fear of how I looked, right? I've got this beard and a backwards hat, but that's who I am. I had this fear that people would start to throw negative information at me because there is a lot of shenanigans. And one of the biggest things is in the fear process is finding the comfort of being able to do this, being able to be on these social media outlets from a business perspective so that you could be successful at being a great seller and being a great salesperson. You already are, but you know you have to evolutionize yourself to get there again. You're not selling knives door to door anymore. It's 2021. Everything is still virtual. How are you enhancing that for yourself? You've got to conquer that fear. And by conquering that fear, you got to find your comfort zone. And I found it. Before I do these, I drink a cup of coffee. I watch a couple of YouTube videos to kind of feel my brain a little bit out. I talk to myself in the shower to make sure I understand the trajectory that I'm going at. And then that final leap was the very first recording. It's embarrassing. Doesn't feel good whatsoever. You got a little bit of sweat, goosebumps, everything. It's what I had. And now I'm on episode 10. And my comfort zone, I'm still figuring it out. That's the crazy part. I'm still figuring it out. I've got all the new technology. I got my ring light. I got my camera. I got my microphone. I probably sound and look amazing now. But now I need to keep on evolutionizing this and recognizing it and changing on a constant basis to make sure I'm constantly bringing value to you. So you got to conquer that fear. And it's finding the comfort zone. And my suggestion is get the camera, record yourself of something of value you want to bring to the public of your network, and rewatch it. See how you sound. What did you like and what didn't you like? That is the first step of conquering the fear. The second step is just posting it. At that point, though, you're going to post it and you're going to just find new things out. And I promise you this, everybody on LinkedIn especially is very supportive of this type of stuff. You get a couple boneheads out there, but you can weed that out because there's usually a huge positive reaction for you emotionally. Feels good on the inside. Use that to your advantage. Keep pushing forward after that. You will conquer the fear and you will get over that hurdle that's probably stopping you from socially selling. Oh man, got the trusty PlayStation mug right now. Still not sponsored by Sony or PlayStation. Just throwing it out there. Anybody that knows anyone at Sony and PlayStation, if they want to send me more mugs, I will promote the hell out of their product. I think it's absolutely great. All right. So you're getting into social selling and you've conquered fear. That's the most important thing, right? You're finding your comfort zone. The second thing is, how do you go about it? You got to strategize, right? Planning is super important. And people are going to tell you, and you're going to see all over LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, anything, when you hear these suggestions from people that you follow, people that do this on a regular basis, that consistency is super important. You need to be consistent with your content. You need to constantly put out things. All that is strategizing and planning when you're going to put all that out and how you put it together. It's just two things. So you need to open up your calendar and see where you have an hour a day to do this. It's just an hour. I promise you. You can add more time if you want to, but you don't want to overstress yourself, right? Because there's still other outlets you need to do. You still need to work deals. You still need to close deals. You still need to email and prospecting call, because those are all part of the selling process. But you need to introduce this methodology. And the only way it's going to work is if you introduce it with what's concurrently happening. If you're not already using your calendar to balance your work life, you're already at a disadvantage. You should be balancing it out from morning till when you're done and you shut it off. And with social selling, and I'll give you my perspective and what I've learned that works best for me. I do everything about an hour a day, Monday through Friday, with Sunday included. Now, here's what I do. So Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Central Time on my calendar, that is blocked out from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. to work on my social selling status and persona. This means this time frame is where I jump on LinkedIn, interact with people. This is where I post videos, comments, photos of things that inspire and bring new things to people's journeys and bring value to the community. And I do that all in the morning for an hour. Once I do that, I'm done. I turn it off completely. My brain shuts it down because it is a lot. You can get sucked in. It is addictive, just like it is for you from a personal perspective. Being on the social media outlets, being on Instagram, Facebook, and all that, seeing all the news, seeing all the photos, everything that's going on, you can get addicted to it. But if you're using it to your advantage, you should plan it out just like you plan out your day, because after that, it's cold calls, it's emails, it's working deals, it's closing deals, it's meetings. It's all needs to be planned out. I plan it out an hour a day, but I did mention one thing, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Central Time. And then I have Sunday. Sunday is when I create my video content. And that might change, by the way. But right now, if you've noticed my small short clipped videos, I go outside and record. I actually record like 7 or 8 different videos at a time when I do my quick snippets, the value that comes to mind to me right away that I want to share with people, because it could change your journey as a seller, as somebody who is trying to find their way. And I go out there, I do my videos, do about 150 takes. That sounded stupid. I wish I kept all my outtakes because you guys would laugh hilariously at the things I say. And there's nothing else there but recording it, bringing it in, and then editing that content. Now, not everybody is familiar with editing tools and all that. There's so many out there now. But for me, I've got a process. It's kind of just a drag and drop, a little bit of editing. It takes me about 5 minutes per video to edit, drop it, get it ready for the week. So that way, when I'm spending the hour, it's just snippet, add, send off, call it a day. Gives me about 30 minutes to interact with the audience and the people that I'm connected with on the social network side. You've got to plan. You've got to strategize. It's part of your selling process. You need to make it happen. All right. Next part of our strategy. You're going to hear this constantly through everybody else, these next 2 things. People who are marketing experts, self-branding experts, they're going to tell you this, and I'm just here to reassure it. Consistency is super important. And the best way to put this in consistency is driving value on a regular basis within these social media platforms. Whether if you're doing videos like I am right now, whether if you're putting out documents, whether if you're putting out articles, whether you're sharing content, consistency is super important. That's why you strategize and plan how your consistency is going to work. But if you plan on doing things every day, your audience who sees you and likes your content expects that to happen at the same time, in that same time frame, every single day. Here's a prime example. I do these particular videos, these live sessions, once a week on Wednesday at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Before I did 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, I was doing 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. When I changed that, my drop in audience went down drastically. Almost 50% of my audience didn't tune in because I changed it. I even got messages from friends who were like, "Hey, I thought you were supposed to be doing your video and your live session, and you weren't there." And even when I sent out scheduled reminders and anything like that, remember, the human brain doesn't work that way, right? We're not looking for scheduled reminders. Our brain's like, "Wow, I wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning, make a pot of coffee, get online, look at my emails. I'm expecting this email at 8:15, at 8:30. Oh man, I got to watch this video, make sure I'm in tune with things." These become habits, and these habits are natural, right? And you need to play into the natural habits of others. If you keep on changing it up in the way in which you drop information, how you drop information, when you drop information, that consistency is all over the place. And if you change that consistency, their habits will not connect. And you'll get frustrated just like me. When I sent out information to everybody saying I changed the time, it didn't matter because they were in the habit of tuning in at that time. Consistency isn't just a matter of posting once a day. It's about when you post and how you post it and working with your audience to make sure that that consistency infuses with their habits. So always remember that with consistency, you're going to hear from everybody, from branding experts, marketing experts. They're going to tell you consistency is important, but you got to make sure the timing of when is part of that as well. Put it on your calendar. It goes all the way back to that strategy. Put it in your calendar, and I promise you, it'll happen every single time. Dano. Welcome aboard. There's a branding expert right there. Let me tell you something, team. On a side note, Dan Milborn, if you don't know who he is, make sure you check the comments in here. Great branding expert, thinks of things a little bit differently, has a different vision, has a different creative spirit. Very cool. And that difference can be something that is very visually appealing that can bring people in. So Dano is one badass dude. Tony, cheers. Tony's what can you even say about Tony? Tony's an amazing individual who has had an amazing career. I don't even want to go into specifics, but someone who is very knowledgeable, someone who's very helpful. And these are the types of people you want to have around you during these times when you're trying to introduce something new. I'm telling you, it's great. Tony, thank you very much. Dano, thank you. Architecture, hello, brother. And from West Africa, cheers, man. Listen, we all got to tune in from somewhere in some place. Thank you for jumping in, and I appreciate it. Now, your marketers, your branding experts tell you consistency is important. Consistency is important. Consistency is important. The next thing that is absolutely essential is interaction. Your audience out there that is working with you on your persona in social selling, right? Nurturing these relationships and building stronger relationships and building trust within these relationships requires interaction, a connection. It's part of trust, right? I have, that's it. You have to connect with people. And let me explain something to you. Clicking, the reason why I took a long pause was simply because I want to make sure I say this correctly without getting furious, is that just by liking someone's stuff and clicking the like button, when you're trying to nurture and build a relationship, does not count as interaction. Thumbs up, great. You send someone a thumbs up. It could mean a million things. Interaction actually truly means if you see something that you have seen in your feeds, whether it's Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, that has a lot of meaning to you, it means a ton to that person that posted that information to actually write something meaningful. It doesn't have to be something that is 18 paragraphs long. You don't have to send a book. You don't have to send a gift card. But interacting means, wow, the information, Matt, that you just gave me is absolutely wonderful. I can't believe you gave us that information. I'm so thank you for sending that. It is very different than sending a fucking thumbs up, than a clapping symbol. I wish they would get rid of that, honestly. I really wish that they would allow people to actually write meaningful things to people, because there's some stuff in there that you don't say. Like, how many people click the fucking like button and it doesn't mean anything to them? They're just like, oh, I know that person. Pff, like, that's the intention of that, to me, is mind-boggling. Interact with your people. Type to them. Send them information. Sending them a direct message about a post is something personal, right? You posted this. I'm going to send that person a direct message. That was insane. Like, are you kidding? Like, you're talking about social selling and self-branding. All of a sudden, it's like, oh man, that was really great. Matt, I can't believe you actually said that. Besides the F-bomb that you dropped, it was really impactful. Like, I could see myself applying this to X, Y, and Z. That person that receives it, big heart on them. They're going to love that. They're going to want to interact with you. Everyone wants to interact with everybody. Like buttons don't count. Interaction is actually truly getting into the conversation, starting a conversation, introducing yourself to a larger conversation. You need to get involved, because as you get involved, other people will get involved as well. God, I hate the like button. Ah! Worst button on the planet. Just get rid of it. Where's the conversation in that? Like, I got 500 likes. Don't know what the fuck that means. Sorry, going on a rant, guys. Composure, look at the comments, feel better. Rob, welcome aboard. We're always learning something new, right? We got to learn something. Hopefully, when I drop information, I hope it sticks. Dennis, welcome aboard. Interaction is key. It's how we interact, right? It's how we build ourselves upon each other, right? And working with each other and supporting each other. When there's a good idea, let them know why it's a good idea to you. That thumbs up has zero meaning to it. So Dennis, welcome aboard. Connect with you. You're watching. Connect with me. We'll make sure to connect. All right. That felt good because I was on a rant. And we're on our last part of the strategy, beginning this process of social selling, right? Listen, we conquered the fear, right? We got to conquer the fear, be in front of the camera, taking this personal perspective of social media and bring a business presence to it. You got a plan. You have got to put this in your calendar. You gotta make this a habit of yourself to actually do this in your selling process. I'm not telling you to get rid of cold calling. I'm not telling you to get rid of emails. I'm not telling you to not rely on your marketing team. This is part of the evolution of sales. So it's got to be in your calendar, just like everything else is when you're closing deals, working prospects. Interaction. You got to interact with your people with words, not with likes. Consistency. Again, consistency isn't just posting once a day, twice a day. Consistency is about when you do it, adjusting to the habits of your audience out there. The final thing is social selling. When you're getting started with all this, because you already have all your tech set up, I don't need to talk about that. Big thing here is expectations. Yes. What should you expect when you're doing all this? This is a hard one to answer because I'm going to just give you my personal view. Obviously, you're nurturing relationships. Obviously, you're building new relationships, sharing ideas, engaging with the social culture. But if you're expecting to close a certain percentage of deals right off the bat when you're first starting, you're wrong. That will not happen. So from an expectations perspective, you should expect nothing. I know. Let that one soak in. You should expect nothing. You shouldn't expect tons more deals to come in. You shouldn't expect that people are going to want to buy products from you. Instead, you have to change your mindset, because the social selling world is very different than emails and phone calls. When you email and call someone, they expect to have a conversation about a product, to solve a pain. But from a social platform perspective, people expect meaningful relationships out of you. So when you expect nothing back from people, this is what's interesting. You put yourself in an advantage. Whereas you put out this content, as you interact with people, you're going to feel like you're getting nowhere. I feel like I get nowhere all the time doing this. I'm looking at my screen here and I love the comments and everything. I expect nothing from anybody. Why? Because I don't know if the stuff I'm putting out is going to help your journey or not. It's my value, though, to help you put that out. And if something comes out of it, that's like the best feeling in the world, a stronger relationship. Because guess what? And here's the best part. As you build this up, and when you first start, zero expectations of anything. Because, listen, I do this video, it gets 500 to 1,000 views. I've reached 1,000 different people that I have very close relationships with, 1,000 people that I don't have close relationships with, but there's a connection. And if I'm making a connection with somebody, we could start a conversation. And as sellers, isn't that the most important thing you want? You are the masters of conversation. You are the masters of unraveling the world of business pains. You are the masters of being empathetic towards others. That's what you want to get to. So don't expect to sell things right off the bat. Don't do that. Instead, put yourself in a realistic mindset. Expectations are to just form relationships, stronger bonds with other people. Don't expect to sell products right off the bat. It takes time. I'm doing this for 6 months. I'm still building my online persona today. And it grows slowly every single day. I'm building new connections with people every single day. Those people that I build connections every day are introducing me to new people every day. I mean, if I'm building connections like that, and I'm building relationships like that, I'm reaching more people than I ever could cold call in an entire year. I could probably reach more people in an entire day than an entire year of cold calling. But you can't get rid of cold calling. It's part of our sales process, right? It's part of it. But we need to introduce this. We need to introduce social selling. So let's go back and recap everything, right? Social selling isn't what it sounds like. You're not just selling products socially, right? You are building relationships, meaningful relationships through your social network. Those relationships will build and blossom. And once you get a strong enough connection where you can communicate and have a conversation, that is super important. In order to do that, we have a few things we need to do. Conquer fear, find our comfort zone. We need to plan. Put your social selling process into your calendar today. The content that you're putting out needs to bring value, and that's simple, right? What is passionate about you and about your persona? Put that content out. Interaction. You need to interact with people. Like buttons, clap buttons, whatever the fucking buttons are, stop using them. Actually type to people. Tell them how you feel. Makes those people feel good. Consistency. Don't change up your times. I've done it before. I failed. I lost a lot of audience because of it. Consistency is important when you post and when you interact with people. That's what they expect. You're adapting to habits. And finally, expectations. Don't go in there with any selling expectations. Go in there knowing that you're going to build strong, meaningful relationships. They're going to connect you with the right people, and those people are going to want to actually have conversations with you. So, team, that is the beginning part of the social selling process. We got to do it. It's the evolution of selling today. And I'm seeing tons of sales teams not embrace it. So get in there, talk to your manager, talk about the importance of it, why it's important, and do it. And I'll give you this piece of advice as well. The last one. You're trying to build your own persona. You're trying to do your own branding. It's kind of what you're building. You're building your own personal selling brand for that business. I'm pretty sure there's plenty of people, the business that you work for, that understand branding. Tap into your marketing team, your product marketing team, and ask about tips and tricks on self-branding. That's free information. If you ain't doing that and your marketing team's not helping you with that, which, by the way, they will. They're fucking awesome people. I'm telling you, it'll help you in the long run. Appreciate you all jumping on today and talking about the beginning parts of social selling. Be sure to drop any more comments. Shoot me a direct message. I love interacting with each and every one of you. And stay tuned for next week as we jump into more of our wonderful selling world. But this is Weiss saying, cheers. Now I'm going to turn this off without seeing it.